Good evening, everyone. I'd like to genuinely thank each and every one of you for joining us in celebrating Tathi's 60th today. And I'm delighted to see so many close friends devote their time to celebrate this special day. Now, I understand that the current situation of Sri Lanka is in dire straits. However, personally, I believe that we should not lose focus on celebrating the most important pillars in our lives. Even though Taththi is someone who always looks for an excuse to entertain people, he was extremely reluctant to have any form of celebration this year. Amidst trying to convince him to reconsider, he genuinely did not, and he was not willing to budge. He did give me a call last Saturday, and he randomly mentioned to me that he drove some 400 plus kilometers to Kuruthalava. Now, little did he know that he was digging his own grave by telling me this. So I inquired a little bit more as to why he drove to Kuruthalava. And he mentioned to me that it was Guru's 80th celebration. I then simply asked him, in the middle of this fuel crisis, and he immediately responded, "How can I miss Guru's 80th celebration, man? I'm the manager." And you can imagine what I said next. I said, "How is it that you can prioritize a celebration of a school that you did not even attend and not put yourself first?" This is not about simply inviting people to celebrate, but rather an opportunity for all of us here today, to show our reciprocation to you. There was a long silence, and we all now know that the rest is history. Now, moving on to my actual speech, the reason I asked most of you to move to this end was because I will be presenting a few snippets of his journey in the recent times, not too much into his childhood. So please draw your attention to the screen as well whenever there is something displayed. But compiling this speech was not an easy task by any means. Hence why I have to print it on paper. Now, like many fathers to their sons, Taththi has grown to be my role model. And I say grown to be. So as a kid, we had our differences, but I've definitely grown to be, he's grown to be my role model. I remember when I was a kid and there was an argument at home, Ammi would irritably tell me, "Don't grow up to be like your father." It's only when I transitioned into adulthood that I realized that the older I got, I only wanted to be more like him. I'm definitely on track in terms of size, as most of you all have pointed out today. But I hope I'm able to someday at least be half of what he is. He is what I aspire to be as a civil servant, a reliable friend, a community organizer, a staunch Thomian, a supportive sibling, a great father, and a lovable husband. As a kid, I remember the first time he introduced me to a few tools in the Microsoft Office suite. He tasked me to compile a PowerPoint presentation for a topic of my choice, and he gave me tips and tricks and feedback on my subsequent workings. He also showed me how to use the sum function and the average function on Microsoft Excel, if most of you guys have used that. And at that time, I was simply amazed. This was about 11, 12 years as a kid. 20 years later, I am still following his advice, and I've been able to develop many automation tools using just Excel, which is now used across every BAT, the company that he works for as well. That's the company I'm working for. But tools that are used across every BAT plant.
He could never write this down.
All that being said, all my success I owe to his guidance. And this is truly a testimony to the importance of taking a few moments of your time to appreciate, guide, advise, and mentor people around us. Like me, I'm confident that each of you have your own story where you have experienced Tathi's endless mentorship. Now, his love for college is incomparable. As he only keeps increasing his involvement in college activities. Be it the Scout Troop, the Board of Governors, the PTA and the OBA, the Royal Tomian Joint Committee, the Stables Committee, and now, as I mentioned, even the Guru Talava STC, he is now the manager. These achievements only portray how much of commitment and affection he has for the school. I'm also certain you wouldn't find a man his size riding around Sri Lanka or even doing a perfect somersault dive. So if you could direct your attention towards the screen. Give us a second to try to replay that. There we go.
9 out of 10. 1 point for the court.
Now, the only time I've seen Taththi emotional was when our pets, Scooby, Brownie, and Happy, for those of you who have visited home back in the day, when they passed away. His love for animals does not fail to amaze me. When I moved out of the house to live in Singapore, we had only recently adopted one stray dog, Benji. However, every single time I go back home, the count of pets only seem to increase. We now have a cat called Kato. We have Bowser and Nanga. He ensures that the pets are well fed before the family, and the next photo on the screen is evidence that he clearly overdoes it. Now, when it comes to our family, he has always been the person to keep us together. Moreover, when things go south, and in all families things do go south, he has always stood by us, supporting us, and giving us the courage to get out of that situation. He has taught me that getting into fights and arguments are pointless, but that I should always strongly abide to what's right. I remember when I was doing the Saddlebred stent, there was a royalist that was trying to barge into an All-Tomian's tent, and I was really pushing him away. And then you can imagine what transpired after that. So it was a fist fight on the ground. I got him away from the ground, and then I get dragged from that fight, and I get a thundering slap in the middle of all of my colleagues and the royalists. Little did I know, after I got through the stars that I was seeing with that slap, that it was my father, and even the royalists were so, shocked that the fight immediately dispersed. So he has taught me also the importance of being nice to people and genuinely complimenting them whenever possible. And he has also taught me that you shouldn't be afraid to be yourself. These lessons will remain with me for life. He is by far the perfect definition for a busybody. Leave alone his weekdays being packed up with work and all the other extracurricular he engages in. He devotes his weekends to the family, taking the family shopping, cleaning the house, painting the walls. Now, with only 3 ladies in the house, I can only sincerely empathize. Whenever he sees a camera pointing towards him, he goes into his default pose, if most of you all know. He sucks in his tummy, his chest comes out, and his fists are clenched. Here are a few examples. And I think we have another one after this. For those of you who wonder how he keeps young, I think there's only one viable explanation. This is what I believe his secret is. Now, in addition to all of this, he tries extremely hard to keep up with modern times. Here is an example of his desperate attempt to TikTok. His love for sweets is no different. He always makes himself a sweet treat on the sly. And when caught in action, it looks something like this. If any of you have spent enough time with him, you would know that you would know what I mean when I say that he has an amazing sense of humor. His sense of humor is definitely incomparable for a man his age. Now, for the next one, I don't know if you all will hear, so I'm giving you a heads up. Probably try to be silent, at least until you hear what he's trying to say. Now, the backstory to this is at the peak of COVID, everyone was naturally stressed out about getting the vaccination. Taththi had a very different outlook. This voice clip was literally minutes after he got the Chinese Sinopharm vaccination.
Thank you, Chanali, for taking me for the vaccine point.
So, in conclusion,
Thank you, Chanali, for taking me for the vaccine point.
in conclusion, you've lived a fruitful and memorable 60 years of your life. However, it is said that life begins at the age of 60. Can Dilanta can have it? I hope all of you all have a drink in hand. Let's take this night to celebrate Taththi, Senaka, Foni, or whatever you may call him, and all his amazing qualities and the impact he has had on our lives. Please raise your glasses and let's toast to an amazing father, a loving husband, and a great friend, and most of all, a true gem that we are all grateful to have in our lives. Here's to many more decades to which I hope these pleasant memories only keep adding.